Welcome to Fear Files, where every story begins with a whisper and ends in terror. Tonight we unravel 3 tales of the macabre and the mysterious. From haunted legacies and vengeful spirits to cursed objects and unrelenting nightmares, prepare to journey through the unknown. Are you ready to face your fears? Let the nightmares begin. Emma Hart had always prided herself on her ability to stay objective. Her work as a journalist often required her to delve into the heart of controversy, and she approached each story with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Moving to the small town had been a deliberate choice. She sought peace and a change of pace after years of city chaos. Little did she know, her pursuit of a quiet life would lead her into a web of supernatural intrigue. The town was quaint, with cobblestone streets and a history that seemed to seep from every corner. One particular afternoon, Emma wandered through the town square, her eye caught by a small shop she hadn't noticed before. Its windows were filled with peculiar artifacts and symbols that hinted at something deeper and more mysterious. Inside, Marie Delacroix presided over her space like a queen over her realm. Her shop was a treasure trove of voodoo relics, each item imbued with a sense of ancient power. Emma approached with a mixture of fascination and skepticism. "I'm here for a story," Emma announced, her voice tinged with an air of superiority. "The townsfolk speak highly of your unique contributions to local lore. Mind if I ask you a few questions?" Marie's gaze was sharp, her expression a blend of disapproval and weariness. "Respect the old ways," she intoned, her voice carrying an undercurrent of authority. "Not all things are meant to be uncovered. Some stories are best left untold." Emma dismissed the warning with a casual shrug. "If you've got nothing to hide, there's nothing to fear. I'm just interested in the truth." Marie's eyes flashed with a mixture of anger and resignation. "The truth is often more dangerous than you realize. Be cautious, young lady." That night, Emma's usually tranquil home felt anything but comforting. As darkness settled over the town, an unsettling presence seemed to seep through the walls of her house. She dismissed the feeling as paranoia until shadows began to twist and shift in her peripheral vision. At first, the figures were faint, mere distortions of the darkness. But as the hours passed, they grew clearer, forming shapes that seemed to reach out with sinister intent. The shadows whispered in hushed tones, their voices like cold breaths against Emma's skin. "You're alone," the whispers taunted. "No one believes you." Emma bolted upright, her heart racing. She turned on every light in the house, but the shadows receded, leaving behind only a sense of lingering dread. She tried to convince herself it was a trick of her mind, but the unease remained. In the following days, Emma's peaceful existence disintegrated. The shadows became more persistent, their presence felt even during daylight hours. Objects in her home seemed to move on their own, and she could hear the whispers echoing through the house even when no one was there. Her once rational mind began to fray under the pressure of these supernatural occurrences. Emma's work suffered, and she became increasingly isolated, her only solace found in trying to uncover the source of her torment. Desperation led her back to Marie, seeking answers and hoping for resolution. Their meeting was fraught with tension. Marie, in her calm and enigmatic way, revealed little. "You have disturbed a delicate balance," she said cryptically. "The shadows are a manifestation of your own fears. They were unleashed by your disrespect." Emma's frustration boiled over. "What am I supposed to do about it? Just wait for them to drive me mad?" Marie's gaze softened slightly, but her voice remained stern. "You must understand the cost of your actions and make amends. Only then can the balance be restored." Emma's investigation into Marie and the town's voodoo practices became more urgent. She delved into local archives, spoke with elderly townsfolk, and unearthed old journals detailing Marie's history and the origins of the Voodoo traditions. The more she learned, the clearer it became that her actions had disrupted something sacred. She discovered that Marie had been a guardian of an ancient pact, maintaining a balance between the spiritual and the mortal realms. Her disrespect had not only angered Marie, but had also disturbed the equilibrium, allowing malevolent forces to prey on Emma's fears. Emma's research led her to an old, forgotten ritual that might appease Marie and lift the curse. But the more she learned, the more the shadows intensified, tormenting her with physical manifestations of her deepest fears, images of her past failures, her insecurities, and her loneliness. Emma, driven to the brink of madness, sought Marie out for a final confrontation. Her desperation was palpable, and her determination was matched only by her fear. Marie agreed to meet, but warned Emma that her efforts might come at a great personal cost. The final confrontation was both harrowing and illuminating. Marie explained the full extent of the curse and the need for a profound act of contrition. Emma was to perform a series of rituals and face her fears directly, seeking forgiveness from the spirits she had wronged. As Emma undertook the rituals, the shadows grew more aggressive, their whispers becoming commands. She faced her deepest fears head-on, reliving moments of her past and confronting her own sense of guilt and regret. The process was both physically and emotionally exhausting, pushing Emma to her limits. With the rituals complete, Emma waited anxiously for any sign that the curse had been lifted. The shadows gradually receded, their presence diminishing as she made amends and sought to restore balance. The process was not without its toll. Emma was left physically and emotionally drained. In the aftermath, Emma found herself changed. Her skepticism had been replaced by a deep respect for the cultural traditions she had once dismissed. She continued her work as a journalist, but with a newfound awareness of the mysteries that lay beyond the surface of reality. Marie remained a respected figure in the town, her practices acknowledged and revered. Emma's experience served as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between knowledge and respect, and the consequences of disrespecting the forces that govern the unseen world. Emma's final reflections were tinged with both relief and melancholy. She had faced her fears and emerged from the ordeal with a deeper understanding of the world and herself. Her journey had taught her the importance of respecting the unknown and the power of facing one's own demons. Daniel Harper's life was defined by order and logic. As a financial analyst, he thrived on numbers and predictability, and his skepticism of the supernatural was well known among his friends. On his birthday, he received a peculiar gift from a well-meaning but eccentric friend, a voodoo artifact wrapped in an antique box. "This is from an old shop downtown," his friend explained. "Thought it might be a fun conversation piece." Daniel chuckled at the thought. "A voodoo relic? Really? Thanks, I guess." He placed the artifact, a small, intricately carved figurine, on a shelf in his apartment, dismissing it as an oddity. Little did he know this seemingly innocuous gift would mark the beginning of his descent into a nightmarish reality. That night, Daniel's sleep was invaded by disturbing nightmares. He dreamed of shadowy figures moving through dark forests, whispering voices that seemed to echo his deepest fears. The nightmares were vivid and unsettling, leaving him drenched in sweat when he awoke. Despite his initial dismissal of the dreams, Daniel found himself growing increasingly disturbed. The bruises and scratches that appeared on his body were inexplicable, and he rationalized them as the result of stress or a restless sleep. But as the nightmares continued, Daniel's skepticism began to waver. As the nights wore on, the supernatural phenomena in Daniel's life intensified. Objects in his apartment would move on their own, books falling off shelves, lights flickering, and doors creaking open in the dead of night. The whispers grew louder, and Daniel could hear faint, unsettling voices even when no one was around. The unexplained injuries continued to plague him, each one more severe than the last. Daniel's daily life became a series of stressful encounters with the unknown. His once orderly world was becoming a chaotic nightmare, and he struggled to maintain his composure. Desperate for answers, Daniel revisited the antique shop where he had received the artifact. The shop was dark and musty, filled with relics from various cultures. The shop owner, a reclusive figure with an air of mystery, was reluctant to speak at first. "I'm looking for information about a voodoo artifact I bought here," Daniel said, trying to sound nonchalant. "I think it might be connected to some strange occurrences I've been experiencing." The shop owner's eyes narrowed. "That artifact is not just an old trinket. It's tied to a powerful and malevolent spirit." The shop owner revealed that the artifact was cursed by a vengeful voodoo spirit. The spirit was the restless soul of a practitioner who had been betrayed and used dark magic to exact revenge. The curse was designed to torment and break those who disrespected or dismissed the supernatural. Daniel's rational mind was struggling to comprehend the gravity of the situation. He began to understand that the disturbances in his life were not mere coincidences, but manifestations of the curse. The voodoo spirit thrived on fear and chaos, using the artifact as a conduit to exert its influence. In his quest for answers, Daniel sought out experts in the occult and attempted various methods to break the curse. Each attempt seemed to make matters worse, as the voodoo spirit's influence grew stronger. Daniel's physical and mental state deteriorated, and his relationships began to suffer as his paranoia and fear took hold. As the curse intensified, Daniel's life spiraled out of control. He became increasingly isolated, alienating friends and colleagues with his erratic behavior. The nightmares became more frequent and disturbing, and the injuries he sustained grew more severe. His rational mind was overwhelmed by the relentless torment of the voodoo spirit. Desperation drove Daniel to seek help from an occult expert who advised him on how to perform a ritual to banish the spirit. The ritual was fraught with danger and required Daniel to confront the full force of the supernatural entity. During the ritual, Daniel faced terrifying manifestations of the voodoo spirit's power. The spirit's wrath was formidable, and Daniel's struggle to maintain his sanity was palpable. The boundaries between reality and the supernatural blurred, and Daniel was pushed to the brink of his mental and physical limits. In a final, climactic confrontation, Daniel and the occult expert performed a high-stakes ritual to banish the voodoo spirit. The ritual took place in Daniel's apartment, now a battleground of supernatural forces. The voodoo spirit's malevolence was at its peak, and the encounter was marked by intense and frightening events. The battle between Daniel and the spirit reached a fever pitch as the supernatural entity's power was unleashed in full force. Shadows twisted and writhed, and the air was thick with fear and tension. The ritual was a desperate attempt to break the curse and reclaim control over Daniel's life. The confrontation was harrowing and fraught with danger. The outcome was uncertain, and Daniel's fate hung in the balance as he faced the full wrath of the voodoo spirit. After the final confrontation, Daniel's life was irrevocably changed. Whether he succeeded in breaking the curse or merely survived the ordeal, the experience left him a different person. The artifact was destroyed, and the haunting manifestations ceased, but the psychological scars remained. Daniel worked to rebuild his life, but the impact of the curse had left lasting marks on his psyche. His skepticism was replaced by a profound respect for the supernatural, and he carried the weight of his experiences as a reminder of the fragility of rationality in the face of the unknown. The story concludes with Daniel reflecting on his journey and the lessons learned from his encounter with the supernatural. His experience serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of dismissing forces beyond comprehension and the importance of acknowledging and respecting the unknown. Maya Johnson's life took a surprising turn on her 28th birthday when she received an unexpected gift from her reclusive aunt. The necklace, an intricate piece of Victorian jewelry, was said to be a family heirloom passed down through generations. Maya, fascinated by historical artifacts, admired the necklace's craftsmanship, but felt a vague unease. She placed it in her jewelry box, unaware of the curse it carried. That night, Maya experienced her first unsettling encounter, a chilling whisper in the dark, calling her name. She dismissed it as a trick of her imagination, attributing it to the stress of her recent move to the small town. But the whispers grew persistent, each night growing more insistent. As the days passed, Maya's peaceful life was disrupted by eerie occurrences. The whispers in the dark became more pronounced, and she began to hear fragmented voices calling her to the abandoned plantation on the outskirts of town. Her initial skepticism turned to concern as the whispers took on a menacing tone. Determined to uncover the source of the disturbance, Maya visited local historians and paranormal experts, seeking information about the necklace and the plantation. The town's residents were hesitant to speak about the plantation, their unease palpable. The historian, an elderly man named Mr. Thompson, reluctantly shared fragments of the estate's dark past, a story of betrayal and violence. The abandoned plantation was a haunting sight, its grandeur obscured by decay. Maya's exploration of the mansion revealed a once majestic estate, now shrouded in neglect. The mansion's interior was a maze of dust-covered furniture and rotting wood, each room a silent witness to the past. As Maya delved into the estate's history, she discovered hidden compartments containing old letters and diaries. The documents detailed a scandalous betrayal involving the plantation's owner and the mistreatment of their servants. The betrayal led to a violent uprising, resulting in the death of several individuals. The necklace, it seemed, had been cursed by the spirits seeking retribution. The curse's manifestations grew more intense as Maya continued her investigation. Objects in her apartment moved on their own, and she experienced disturbing visions of the past. The spirits' anger was evident in their increasingly violent actions, and Maya felt their presence encroaching on her daily life. Desperate for answers, Maya sought help from a local medium, a woman named Clara who specialized in communicating with spirits. Clara's eerie revelations confirmed Maya's fears. The spirits demanded retribution for the betrayal and sought to manipulate Maya into uncovering the truth. Maya's life became a waking nightmare as the spirits' influence spread. Her relationships with friends and family began to suffer as the haunting intensified. The spirits' demands for retribution became more urgent, and Maya found herself grappling with the supernatural forces at play. As she investigated further, Maya uncovered the details of the betrayal and the role the necklace played in binding the spirits to the estate. The curse was a manifestation of the spirits' rage, their need for justice fueling their haunting presence. In a desperate attempt to appease the spirits, Maya sought the assistance of the occult expert she had previously dismissed. The ritual to break the curse was elaborate and fraught with danger. Maya and the expert performed the ritual in the heart of the haunted plantation, surrounded by the spirit's wrath. The confrontation was intense, with the spirit's power reaching its peak. Shadows twisted and writhed, and the air was thick with malevolent energy. The ritual was a high-stakes battle, testing Maya's resolve and courage as she faced the full force of the vengeful spirits. The climax of the ritual was a desperate and harrowing ordeal. Maya, guided by the expert's instructions, fought to complete the ritual despite the spirit's violent resistance. The energy in the mansion was overwhelming, and the spirit's anger seemed insurmountable. In a moment of clarity, Maya managed to complete the final incantation, breaking the curse and releasing the spirits from their torment. The haunting manifestation ceased, and the atmosphere in the plantation shifted from malevolent to peaceful. The resolution brought a sense of relief, but left Maya deeply changed. The psychological impact of the haunting lingered, and the experience left scars on her psyche. Maya reflected on the lessons learned from her encounter with the cursed necklace and the spirit's quest for retribution. The plantation, now free of its haunting presence, was left to decay in peace. Maya's life returned to normal, but the memories of the haunting remained a poignant reminder of the fragility of rational understanding when faced with the supernatural. Maya's experience with the cursed necklace had a profound effect on her. She continued her work as an art historian, but the haunting legacy of the necklace remained a part of her. Maya became an advocate for historical preservation and the acknowledgement of past injustices. The necklace was laid to rest in a secure location, and the plantation was left to its memories. Maya's journey had taught her the importance of confronting the past and seeking resolution, and she carried these lessons with her as she moved forward in her life. Years later, Maya returned to the town for a historical conference. The town had moved on, and the plantation story had become a cautionary tale rather than a haunting legend. Maya's work had contributed to preserving the town's history and acknowledging the past. As she walked through the town's streets, she felt a sense of closure and peace. The experience with the cursed necklace had been a dark chapter in her life, but it had also been a catalyst for growth and understanding. Maya had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, carrying the lessons of her journey into the future.
Thank you for joining us on this night of terror. As the shadows recede and the echoes fade, remember, the darkness may linger long after the story ends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to keep up with the latest nightmares from Fear Files. Until next time, keep your lights on and your fears close.